In the podcast, I heard you speak about estrogen annihilation. Please explain what estrogen is for those unaware and what you mean by estrogen annihilation.
Estrogen can be used as a synthetic or non-synthetic hormone. We can call this an inorganic hormone or what you'll call melanin neurotransmitter, because it acts as both depending on what tissues is in the body, or it can be organic melanin neurotransmitter. But basically what estrogen is a cellular proliferator, meaning it brings life and growth to a cell. But it comes in a balance with testosterone to keep it balanced. If it's too high, then it starts growing things that shouldn't be grown. Let's just talk about a female.
That's why little dudes get breasts and all that.
It's called visceral fat. So, but this is good on a woman. It's just bad on a man. So what I call estrogen annihilation, we could talk about it in a woman's sense and in a man's sense. What it does in women is it grows fibroids. So a woman go on a menstrual cycle, right? Every month she bleeds. She bleeds to actually shed what you would call a corpus luteum, or that egg that was supposed to be fertilized by her uterine wall. If it's not fertilized, then what it does, it goes through the endometrium lining of her cervix and it starts to shed off. This is called her period. Well, it's a cyst that grows there every month. And this cyst can only be grown by estrogen. So estrogen comes in and it grows the cyst. The cyst is actually supposed to be fertilized by an egg, by the ovary. So if a woman have sex during her ovulation period and a man ejaculating her, the sperm then travels. They go through this tremendous fight. Then one of the sperms, which is crazy in itself, then one of the sperms actually make it to the egg. Inside of this egg is the corpus luteum. This is the cyst. This is actually what's really being fertilized. But if the woman don't have sex, or if she don't go through her ovulation period and she don't get ejaculated in, then this cyst is supposed to be broken off by something called progesterone. Right now, if progesterone don't come in and break that corpus luteum off, what happens is it's because it's too much estrogen in the body. Because of things she eating, she might be interacting with the sun and the moon different, because that plays a major role in a woman's menstrual cycle. Yes, the sun and the moon and the stars play a major role in a woman's menstrual cycle. But anyways, estrogen start producing in the bloodstream too much, and it will start feeding that particular cell. So remember, estrogen is a cellular proliferator. So it starts growing and growing that cyst. So that cyst become a bigger cyst. Then that cyst literally starts turning into all other types of things of what we call fibroids, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, where there's multiple cysts on her uterine wall or inside of her cervix. These things are very, very bad for the woman because it kills the body. They grow teeth, they grow hair, and then they start stripping the blood of iron. Sometimes they even create their own bloodlines, their own bloodstream. They literally create their own blood vessels. It's called angiogenesis, where the tumor, or what you would call the fibroid that was built by estrogen, starts getting so big that it needs its own blood supply, that this deal will grow its own blood supply. It's called angiogenesis. They grow teeth, they grow eyes, they grow hair. Because remember, the corpus luteum was supposed to turn into a fetus or an embryo, but it never did because you didn't get ejaculated in. Showing you too that women can get pregnant by themselves. I'm just saying, when you really look at this, a woman can get pregnant by themselves through the corpus luteum. They growing teeth, they growing hair, eyes, and everything, and wasn't ejaculated in. How was this thing forming into a baby when there was no intercourse? We got to ask ourselves these things. But anyways, so we see that it does that. Now in males, and remember estrogen, so all of these estrogen, pregnenolone, progesterone.
Hold on. Yeah, I want to go on this fibroid thing some more, right? I know it's really affecting black women.
Yeah.
Why is it affecting black women more than white women?
Because the biodiversity of bacteria and the way we utilize chemicals is different than so-called Caucasians. We have to understand that we are not only externally different, meaning our pigmentation is different, meaning they grow straight hair, their hair grow towards the ground. We grow kinky curled hair, non-ether hair. Our hair grow towards the actual sun, but our genetic makeup, our molecular structure is different. The biochemistry of our body is different. The biodiversity of bacteria in a black woman's vagina cavity is very different than the biodiversity of bacteria inside of a white woman's or Asian woman, so-called white woman, so-called Asian woman. The salivary glands, we produce alkaline salivary alkalining enzymes in our mouth. Theirs is hot enough to break down certain meats and stuff. Again, the hydrochloric acid in our stomach don't get hot as theirs, so they can break down polypeptides and these peptide chains, or what you call meats. Ours can't. Everything about our molecular structure is different from every other specific race race and genealogy here on planet Earth, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And that's why you see, basically ethnicity-related diseases is high amongst a certain ethnic group. So if you see that so-called African Americans are high in, diabetes, high in hypertension, high when it comes to stroke-related diseases when they get older, high in STDs, but you look at every other race and theirs is not, you're gonna have to start sitting back and asking yourselves, what is it about our molecular structure that's different from theirs? So we just have totally different molecular structures. We have more diversity of prokaryotic cells in our body. They have more diversity of eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells were here first, over 7.1 trillion years ago. Eukaryotic cells came a few trillion years after that, after prokaryotic cells evolved into eukaryotic cells. So we come from prokaryotes, they come from eukaryotes. We are totally two different people, meaning that when we react to our environment, it's going to have a certain chemical exchange in our body that is going to be very, very different from them.
Is that one of the reasons with this lactose thing with black people?
Yes, all black people, all so-called, I hate the word black because it's color of gray. All melanated people are lactose intolerant. We can't digest any other mammal's milk. Only milk we were made to digest is ours. And it's a reason why, because we are simple creatures and we need simple amino acid structures. We need simple sugars called monosaccharides, not polysaccharides. So when you, which is a person that needs monosaccharides or high energy, go and suck on the tit of a mammal that's not your mother, whether you're doing it from a milk carton or not, you're still sucking on the tit of another mammal or another species. It does something to the molecular structure where your body tries to purge that sugar out. It's called galactose. So the body don't need that galactose. Your body only wants the galactose from your mother between the ages of 1 and 3. After that, your body will do the same thing to your mother's galactose because now you're being introduced to a newer sugar. So what happens is the body goes through a detoxification phase. First thing you get is bubble guts and what? The runs, right? The guts start rumbling and you got to go to the bathroom. That's the body having a natural capability of healing itself and knowing that these substances in our body is too foreign to the body. So the body is miraculously heal itself. It's going to give you diarrhea so you can go get rid of the poison that you just put in your body. And then you have to think about what this milk is for. When you look at cow's milk and you look at goat's milk, a goat can get up to 500 pounds. A cow can get up to 2 tons. It can weigh more than a vehicle. That means that milk has so many fats, so many steroids, so many amino acids, so many of all these different bioflavonoids that is made to build a 2-ton weighing mammal. And we're putting our children on that. And we wonder why our children is obese. Our children, you put them on milk or you put them on Similac and all these, because most of these Similacs that the government is giving them is growing them. So you see a 6-month baby that look like he 3. Because the milk, only thing it ain't the milk fault, it's our parents' fault. The only thing that milk is constructed to do is to build a 2-ton animal. And you giving this milk to an infant, and you wonder why the infant is overweight. You wonder why the infant have different neurological reactions, because we know that food feeds the brain. You wonder why that they get very, very antsy and very aggressive when they see a bottle. Same thing that a cow do. I just want you to do this when you get a time. Study how Similac babies act towards food and how organic breastfed babies act towards food. When you see an organic breastfed baby, he do certain different types of aggression. He'll grab the breast, he'll caress the breast. But if you see somebody that's on Similac, they smack the bottle. It's very aggressive. You have to ask yourself why. So,
all right, I want to go back to the estrogen in men now.
So estrogen in men. So again, estrogen in women is supposed to grow their hips. It widens out their hips, get them ready for a baby. It grows their breasts. It makes them more sexually attractive for a man can look at the woman. And that's another thing. A lot of women are now saying that, all men want is sex. I mean, on a primitive level, that's all men's supposed to want. A man look at a woman, he look at how sexually attractive she is. The first thing he think of is reproducing. We think sex is something else, which it is when you get into the higher spiritual realms, but it's for reproducing, entering to the course. So of course a man is going to look at you and see a round behind and see some plump breasts and want to make love. It's in his entire DNA to repopulate, to make sure that his genealogy is living forever. So anyways, so in women, it's supposed to get her ready for reproducing. In males, it's supposed to do the same thing, but too much of it in males, remember you have adipose tissues, and these adipose tissues in males starts over accumulating before it can make sure it holds in estrogen. So estrogen in men is supposed to kick on testosterone when it's at a little, but when it's too high, it overpopulates testosterone and it makes testosterone go low. Testosterone and zinc and iron phosphate and magnesium is actually what creates seminal fluid. Seminal fluid is then goes into the prostate and it creates your ejaculation fluid for you can have semen, for you can actually have a baby. So estrogen lowers your semen count. It sterilizes you. Not only that, it grows visceral fat, meaning that it literally can grow breasts, or you see a lot of men getting butts now, and it shrinks the penises. We have lost over 2 inches in width and girth of penis in black males within the last 10 years. That's great. We are losing our penises. All right, well, not only that, estrogen, it messes with the DNA, and now a lot of males are losing something called the Y chromosome. If you look at embryology, when an embryo turns 6 weeks, that determination factor is when, because all embryos starts off phenic. They all starts off as feminine, females. Then at the 6-week mark, if a Y chromosome is added to the X chromosome, that's where you get an actual male from. Well, we are starting to lose that Y chromosome, and scientists is just now figuring out why. It's because the overpopulation of estrogen that men are taking. So now you start looking at this vegan movement. The vegan movement, where they pushing all these synthetic estrogen burgers, synthetic estrogen meat, synthetic estrogen corn, synthetic everything got estrogen. They pumping estrogen into everything. And we don't see what they're doing. They even putting it in meat now. They're putting sexual estrogen hormones in your chickens, because chickens are not growing fast enough. Remember that estrogen is a cellular proliferator. It grows things just like L-arginine and L-lysine. So what they do is if a chicken is not growing fast enough for them to be able to put it on a production table for what they call them, hot wings, and all for all these different restaurants can have their hot wings for us to eat. In order for them to grow fast, to have quick production, they pump them with sexual hormones.
So it's a steroid.
It's a straight steroid called estrogen. And steroids are made by something called cholesterol. So you can even get these steroids if you wasn't in the sun, because it's all synthesized by something called vitamin D. And the only way you can get vitamin D is by tyrosine and melanin converting with the sun. So plants go through something called photosynthesis, and we go through something called biosynthesis. When we go through biosynthesis, our vitamin D synthesizes what you would call cholesterol. This cholesterol, some of it turns into melanin, be stored up for skin pigmentation, but the other ones create your sexual hormone. Estrogen, pregnenolone, progesterone, and testosterone. What they are doing, though, they're making synthetic estrogen, and they're putting it in all of our foods. And when you look at estrogen, it acts as a phytate, meaning it blocks minerals, especially in men. It blocks iron phosphate, it blocks selenium and magnesium. Selenium is inside of your melanin. Like if you check a Caucasian inside their melanin, they have sulfur and ammonia. Inside of your melanin, you have something called selenium. This actually protects you from the environment. So it's like not only is they killing our blackness while pumping us with estrogen, but they're turning us back into females while pumping us with estrogen. And they're making us accumulate a lot of this visceral fat. So we grow man boobs, our penises are shrinking, our butts are getting bigger. We're literally going through like a backwards mutation, man, back into females, dealing with estrogen. So I say avoid estrogen at all costs. And I say women avoid synthetic estrogen at all costs. Males need to be higher in testosterone, and women need to be higher in progesterone, not estrogen. Estrogen is very acidic. Testosterone is acidic too, but men need that acidic side of chemistry to keep him a man. So men need that little buffering chemistry of catalytic environments. Women don't at all. They need to be strictly alkaline. That's what makes them feminine. It's called electron. Men are more protons when it comes to masculinity. Women are very, very feminine. They need more electrons.
What things would you recommend men can take to boost their testosterone to a healthy level? Not too high, but to a healthy level.
American ginseng tea. Ashwagandha root. Ashwagandha, man. Ashwagandha is very, very good for testosterone. Another one is quassia chips. Quassia chips got testosterone. It raises testosterone, and it comes with a lot of zinc and gold. And zinc and gold and selenium plays a major, major part of building a seminal fluid, or what you would call semen. And the more semen a man holds on to, the more masculine he is. So semen retention is good. You still can have sex. Just when you have sex, don't ejaculate. Try to hold it. Hold it as long as you can. And, I would say try to start ejaculating at least once every 2 months. You can still have sex, though, but just hold that life force, where you can push that life force up your spinal cord and get resurrected at the 30-degree vertebrae, and you can come to Christ consciousness. That's all I was talking about, where that holy anointed oil is traveling to Golgotha, or what they call the land of Calvary, to be hung at the 33-degree vertebrae. The reason why Christ was crucified at 33. It's all talking about the rising of not only seminal spinal fluid, but your semen. And semen retention kicks that on. Like how Santa Claus, he climbs up the chimney and then he climbs back down the chimney. He gives it a gift and then he leaves back. All this is talking about semen retention and raising the Kundalini energy, or the Kundalini spirit, where you can resurrect and you can open your pineal gland, for you can actually become the God that you're supposed to be. And semen retention is the best way to do that. And you get to actually build up testosterone while doing that. That's the reason why boxers, they sign contracts where while they training, they don't have sex, because the more you ejaculate, the more you get rid of testosterone, the more you basically deplete your life force. So whenever you ejaculate and you let that semen come forth, you basically die quicker. But it's a reciprocal energy, because you're supposed to be having seeds when you ejaculate. So even though you're dying, you're still passing on your generations to live forever.